Hey guys, my name is Frank Doorhof, and in this video I want to explain something to you that a lot of people ask me about their Sony cameras. But this actually goes for most cameras that have an EVF. So let's first explain what is an EVF. Now, when we look at older cameras, you always looked through the viewfinder, through the lens, and you saw your image. But when you took the picture, it looks totally different, of course, because, well, the whole settings of the camera are incorporated into the picture, not what you see through the lens. This is why in the old days, when you used film, you actually used something called a Polaroid, where you could take a picture, you saw the end result, and then you shot it on film. Now, with the arrival of the EVF, the electronic viewfinder, we have a great tool in our cameras, and it's called, well, the electronic viewfinder. So what does it do? It emulates the image that you're going to take. So in other words, if you're outside and you're going to shoot on AV mode, or of course on your shutter priority mode, you will see in your viewfinder exactly what is going to be captured when you press the shutter button. And that sounds awesome, right? Because now no more problems with overexposed skies, underexposed stuff. You get what you see, and that's great. But how about in the studio? Because a lot of people email us with questions about, hey, when I use my camera in the studio, it's terrible because only when I focus I can see my model, but everything else is dark. Think about this. Your EVF will show you the picture exactly how your settings in your camera are. In other words, it does its work perfectly because you're shooting in a dark studio with strobes. So you should get a dark picture, right? But how do you solve that? Because you want to be able to see your model. That's why in most cameras, 99% of the cameras, there's an option to actually turn your exposure compensation off. You can find this under exposure compensation, or for example with Sony cameras under the setting effect in your menu. So my advice is to always turn this off in the studio, and then as soon as you go outside, turn it on, because of course outside you want to be able to see everything. Now you might wonder, how many times do I change that setting? Well, you change that setting a lot, because every time in the studio you turn it off. Every time when you go out you turn it on. So this is why there's another really cool function in my Sony camera, and also most other mirrorless cameras of course. And that's your custom menu. And Sony really did it well, because you not have one custom menu, you actually have two. And I don't mean two options, no. You actually have your quick menu under your menu, so that's where your favorites are stored. But there's also another quick menu, and that's the menu that's actually called the quick menu, so not the favorites menu. And that's the menu you see underneath your viewfinder. And this is, I think, one of the best things that I found in my Sony camera. Because your camera is something personal. You want to make sure that your camera operates as an extension of yourself, and not just as a camera where you have to dig into menus and find everything. So my advice in this video is actually two steps. One, if you work in the studio and you want to be able to see your model, turn off the exposure compensation. And two, create your favorite menu, but also your quick menu, because this makes operating your camera so much faster and so much easier. And when you're in a stressful situation like a photo shoot, you don't want to think about, where did I set that setting, or where is that menu setting? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little tip about how to set up your camera. It's a question that comes around a lot, so I decided to make a quick video about it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below or on our social media. If you want to know more about me, visit frankdoorhof.com. See you again next time. Bye guys.